I have been fishing this Googan Squad Gold Series rod for over a year. I've caught largemouth. That's awesome. Smallmouth. Swim jig has been coming in clutch. Peacock bass. I've caught snook.
Light colored fish. You got one? Yeah. That's a good one.
Such a cool fish. I've caught sea trout. Redfish. Oh my God! In the net, baby. Tarpon. That is a tarpon.
Is it? Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
I have hooked and fought an alligator with this rod, as well as a lemon shark. Guys, we're in trouble. Oh, what did I get? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'll be the first person to catch a shark. There we go. I took this on a road trip with me over 5,000 miles there and back again. And with all that experience under my belt, I think it is high time that someone comes clean to you guys and gives you a true review on this rod. All right, so what's going on, everybody? If you are new to the channel, my name's Eric. Welcome. I'm so glad you brought your smiling faces to another video out here in the Florida Everglades. Just wrapped up an awesome trip out here in the kayak. And I figure, well, I've got a few extra minutes. We're gonna talk about this particular rod right here. So what I have in my hands is the Googan Squad Gold Series Go-To casting rod. That means it's a 7-foot medium heavy fast action. And I've had that the entire time paired up with this Shimano Corrado DC. This is a 150 size reel. I've had it spooled up with 30-pound braid, and my leader varies depending on what I'm going to be targeting on that given day. I found it kind of interesting that I kept picking up this rod when I would go out and target all those different species. It just, that 7-foot medium heavy fast action, especially casting, because I love my casting rods. It just kind of fit what I was trying to do, targeting all those different species. It just, you know, the specs fit it so perfectly, so I just kept picking it up and really put this thing through the ringer. So what I'm gonna do for you guys is, first off, I'm going to kind of list the good things, the bad things, and let you know kind of what you need to look out for if you are looking to possibly purchase one of these and use it for yourself. Starting off, when you get this in the mail, the first thing that you are going to notice immediately is the weight. Oh my gosh. Guys, I've never picked up a rod so light in my entire life. I mean, guys, you can fish this all day and you are not going to get fatigued. Your wrist isn't gonna hurt, especially if you pair it up with the right reel. Oh my gosh, it is just an absolute dream to hold in your hand in terms of the weight. Next thing I want to talk about is the guides. You know, a lot of people kind of have something against micro guides, and the Squad definitely did this rod justice. They didn't use those ultra tiny little micro guides that can kind of be a pain. They're not huge, which actually adds to the weight factor. I really like it. I mean, I have not been left wanting in terms of the guides. It fights fish very well. The rod loads up perfectly. There's the right number of guides on here. So I really can't fault it when it comes to the guides whatsoever. All right, so I know what you guys want to hear about next, and keep your ears open for this. Oh man, a ratcheting and locking reel nut. I mean, that is satisfying and also cool. I mean, guys, if you fish long enough, I know that when you have set the hook at least one time in your life, if you've fished for like 10 years or more, you've set the hook and the reel just goes, just flies out, because your reel nut eventually backs off, or you know, you forget to tighten it, whatever the case may be. I've even had reel nuts strip on me to where I set the hook and the reel nut just comes flying up the rod blank.
Oh no. The threads are stripping.
Anyway, so that's a really unique feature. Like I said, I've been fishing this rod for a year, and I think actually today, as I film this is the first time that I have actually tightened or loosened it since I installed the Corrado on this thing. hand to heart, that's the honest truth. And when I went to go play with this for you guys on the camera, phrasing, it was as tight as I had left it when I first wrenched it down. And you don't have to wrench this down very hard at all. I mean, once it stops, it's not going anywhere. So that feature right there, very innovative and awesome. That checks all the boxes for me. So a couple other things to talk about: the grips on the reel seat and the butt section. Very, very ergonomic in the hand. I mean, it has the perfect swell, depending on where you actually like to grip the rod. Some people like to do this number, some people kind of do one of these. I've got a hybrid where I get the little finger swell in between my middle and ring finger, and kind of grip the rod like this. So I, palm half the rod. I feel like this gives me the most power. But anyway, even if you grip the rod here, it fits perfect in the fingers like this as well. I mean, it's like that swell, just no matter how you grip the rod, you're going to get a good purchase on the rod and the reel when you go to set the hook. It's just a very natural feeling. I think they did an amazing job with, the swell and the shape of that. Same thing with the butt section too. I mean, just, if you're gonna use the rod and get maximum casting distance by using science and use it like a lever, it's great. I don't know what else more to say. I mean, it's got that nice little metal Googan squad deal in there. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it feels great in the hand, and it just kind of complements the weight of the rod too. Because it's so light, having a really nice purchase and grip on it just makes it that much easier and less fatiguing to use. So really, I really like that a lot. As far as, the power is concerned, even though this is such a light rod, I've never been left wanting for more power. I mean, well, maybe when I was fighting that tarpon. But aside from that, I mean, even fighting the redfish on the flats in this thing, it did a great job. Real fast tip, and then you really feel like you're fighting the fish with, I want to say, almost 2/3 of the rod. So you have plenty of power, especially, if you reel down and you got the drag nice and tight, you can really fight them with the reel and not so much the rod. Really helps with horsing fish in, especially, crazy snook and redfish. Also big bass too. I know a lot of you guys fish for bass, and you get a big one, you can get this into the boat quick, into your net before it spits the hooks. So that's really great. A lot of fish fighting power with this. Another A+ in my book. Let's see, what else? So as far as casting, I've casted pretty light baits. I was casting 1/4 ounce jigs up north for smallmouth. I know sometimes when you cast those really light baits, you need a spinning rod and you need something with a really whippy tip just to get it. If you cast this way, it's not shooting off that way. I know you guys have tried to cast too light of a lure on a rod before, so definitely an annoying thing, but I've really had great control over lighter baits. And then even this, Zoom Old Monster with a 1/2 ounce tungsten on there whips it just fine. I haven't really tossed super heavy baits. I have tried the Whopper Plopper 130 and no issues whatsoever. I'm not going out there power casting, trying to send this thing to the moon. Obviously, I paid for this, and I'm going to respect my equipment and make it last as long as possible without using it in a negligent manner. So haven't tried to actually break it, but just using it normal, it's been fine. So I think that's going to wrap up all the positive things that I have to say about this particular rod. Now, we're gonna move on to the negatives. And one thing that I do wanna say is kind of an online rumor or myth, or just, I don't know what to call it exactly, but basically it's been going around online that these rods are coming in broken, or they break on your first cast or hook set. I can't fully dispel that myth because it didn't happen to me. Rod arrived in great shape in a nice rod tube from Catchco, no issues. But my buddy Jesse, I let him pick up this rod, and I was like, dude, he had a favorite rod that broke, and I was like, you know what? You got your military discount. and you got your catch code discount for being a Shop Carl's member, you're gonna get a heck of a price on this. Dude, go for it. He picked up this rod and was just like mind blown at how light it was. It was like, you know, feels like a Ferrari. So he went and ordered one, and well, I got this text message. So that kind of does confirm what a lot of people are saying, but not really. Guys, hit up Shop Carl's, hit up Catchco, let them know what happened. And I mean, look at the customer service that Jesse got. They took care of it immediately. They shipped him out a rod the next day. All he had to do was send him pictures of it. Boom, taken care of. And guys, I mean, I work in the e-commerce business. It just goes without saying, when you are shopping online and having something shipped to you from a warehouse, wherever it is, guys, shipping damage is going to occur. And plus, you don't know how the rod blank was actually handled when it was being shipped over here in a container. I mean, there's just no way to know for sure, especially if you buy it in like a Dick's Sporting Goods. You don't know how many people have picked up this rod and, like, you know, tested the power on the ground, or, you know, tested it by grabbing it right here. That even freaks me out, doing it to my own rod. You don't know. So it's not something that you can really fault the rod whatsoever, any rod company for that matter. It's just, it is what it is. Kind of myth, not dispelled or confirmed, but I just hope that gives you a little bit of reassurance if you plan on buying one of these rods. All right, so on to the negatives. So I'm gonna give you guys a closer look at this rod. This stuff right here, that's not a design that I did to this rod. Now, part of that I definitely take blame for, 100%. So I basically traveled from Florida all the way up north, almost to Canada and back. And I had it in the back of my kayak right here, and I did not put a rod sleeve on this. It was just one of those things where, guys, I was fishing day after day, every day. Wake up, fish, go home, dump the footage, eat, get back out, fish. And I did that for a week and a half, plus actually a total of 4 days on the road, 2 up there, 2 back, over 5,000 miles. And this thing was jostling around and banging into stuff, and these are rub marks on it. Now, the finish on this rod is a flat matte finish. There's no clear coat, epoxy, or anything like that. I feel like if it had a clear coat on it, it would have helped the finish last a little bit longer. Granted, I did kind of abuse it a little bit, especially driving where I'm at here in the Glades. I'm driving on all these, you know, levee roads. It's bumpy, especially when I was fishing that kayak bass fishing tournament in September. Guys, I didn't put a rod sleeve on this because I would basically work Monday through Friday, 12 to 14 hours, load my stuff up in the kayak, fish all day Saturday and Sunday, go home, go back to work, and rinse and repeat until the tournament was over. So loading, unloading the kayak, cleaning the rods, doing whatever was not going to happen. I was stretching myself way too thin. And yeah, I paid the price. But like I said, I feel like a clear coat would have helped that last a little bit longer. Obviously, it hasn't affected the performance of the rod, so that's great. But it would just be nice to see this have some type of finish to it. I know that's going to add to the retail price of it, but for me, I'd pay another 20 bucks if, you know, every rod from Googan Squad came with that finish on it. So while we're on the topic of the aesthetics and finish, my Googan Squad rod logo fell off right here. I don't know when or how it happened, but that kind of sucks. I mean, you know, you've got the little fingerprint, like those little fine attention to detail, you know, aesthetics is really cool, especially that little metal butt cap. Cool stuff, but man, you know, I want to be part of the squad. I want my logo. I don't know. It just kind of sucks because that happened within like the first week of owning the rod. So, but like I said, doesn't affect the performance whatsoever. So, Number 2, and this has actually been a pain in the ass, and that would be the hook keeper right here. So what I think their mindset was when placing the hook keeper on the back of the rod blank was to keep it out of the way of the line coming off the reel. It hasn't seemed to do any good whatsoever. The line gets wrapped around the back of that hook keeper constantly. I am using a very, very castable 30-pound braid, so that might have something to do with it. It's not quite such a stiff and rigid line like if I was using just nothing but fluoro or mono, but I feel like they could have done a better job with the placement and put it down here. I never had the braid get hooked up down here, but this rod, it happens a lot. I want to say it happens at least a dozen times if I'm out there fishing a full 12-hour day. So, I mean, is it the end of the world? No, but it is a big pain in the ass, especially if you don't realize it and set the hook on something, you could end up snapping the line. So maybe if they amend any future versions, they put it down here, but just something to think about if you're gonna buy one of these guys. Another gripe that I have, which again, it's kind of more personal preference. So I talked about the swells on the grips, you know, being very ergonomic. Well, guys, take a look at the cork though. I mean, the rod is a year old and I've put it through a lot of abuse, but I mean, it's got big splits in the cork. I'm kind of nervous to see how much longer the grips last. Personally, I would have loved to have seen some wind grips. You would be limited on the actual, you know, contours of the grips if you went that route. Also, it may add a little bit to the price tag, but the wind grips, in my opinion, those things are great. Obviously, they grip really well, and just, you know, they're easier to clean. They don't get so dirty, and you don't have to worry about the cork splitting. Now, a positive side about this cork is it grips really well when wet. So, like I said, that's personal preference, but it is kind of a bummer to see these grips kind of coming apart. So guys, I just sat here for about 5 minutes trying to pick apart this rod and find another negative, and I can't do it. I know the beginning of this video, I was kind of grim and like, oh guys, I gotta come clean. Dude, awesome rods. I honestly can't recommend these enough, especially if you are a first responder or part of our military. You get a crazy discount if you are a Shop Carl's member, and you can pick these things up for dirt cheap. When considering the performance of this rod and the quality, you get this for dirt cheap. I mean, it's a no-brainer to get these. I mean, obviously, guys, you know that follow me, I'm a guide, and I'm seriously considering getting the Gold Series rods for my clients to guide with. You know, the price point and the performance just really, you know, it kind of beats my favorite rods. You know, I don't know if it'll be able to boat flip an 8-pound snakehead like my other ones do, but I'm not going to try with these. But man, it makes it tough. I kind of want to get a whole arsenal of these to have on deck for guiding for my clients. But great rods, guys. Even if you're not a first responder, even if you're not a Shop Carl's member, you would be doing yourself a disservice if you didn't pick one of these up the next time you find yourself in need of another rod. I can't recommend them enough. The price difference between the green and the Gold Series is so minimal. Just take the step up to the Gold Series, guys. Don't even look at the green ones. You know, those are great rods too, but go with the gold, guys. Go for gold. So I hope I didn't blab too long, guys. I wanted to give you an honest review, my honest opinion. You know, I really, really like this, and that's why I've used it so much, especially going down into the saltwater version of the Everglades, catching those redfish, tarpon, snook, trout, and definitely looking forward to heading back there. I do want to battle some more sharks with this. That was a lot of fun. So watch out for that video in the very, very near future. So with all that being said, I'm going to get the heck out of here. It's really hot, and I've got a long drive home. So I want to thank you guys for watching. My name's Eric. You're watching the Flow Bass channel. If you guys are interested in booking a freshwater fishing charter, hit that link in the description, or just go to flowbass.com. You can find all my information there. We go for largemouth, peacocks, and bullseye snakeheads on the Flow Craft. So I'd love to have you on board and put you on some of the amazing species we have here in my home state. But until then, guys, make sure you show your support for all outdoor creators. Now is the most important time than ever to do that, because I believe in this platform and I want to stay on it, as well as all my other fellow outdoor and fishing YouTubers. So show everybody as much support as possible, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Not a big one.